and I'm gonna start putting the printing it with a timestamp, so just to keep us on board here. Okay, so these are my ideas. Shall I sit?
Wherever you want.
It'll be picked up. No, it doesn't matter because I'm not acting. I'm just. I know one of these seats is a little funky. Okay, so here are the ideas. Projected images of E.B. Knight's mill, Lena's glasses, Four Roses whiskey label, copy of the charges against Lena. Actually, I'm going to take that out because it comes later. And then this is very important, projection. If a nigger kills a white man, that's murder. If a white man kills a nigger, that's justifiable homicide. If a nigger kills another nigger, that's one less nigger.
Now this is going to be, your vision is we project this without no voiceover, just let the people read. I love it, okay?
And if it could, so we may have to incorporate, I don't know, something, but if it could scroll up.
You like the whole idea of scrolling up like one of those old Nazi movies?
Yeah, or propaganda.
Okay, got it.
Okay, it's setting the tone.
So put a little note about the word propaganda.
Okay. Propaganda, think Nazi.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a
That's great, by the way. This is great.
Okay, pre-show soundscape in concert with film footage of small town America. Cut to the.
Wait, hold on. Pre-show soundscape in concert with film. A pre-show soundscape. What is? Explain what you mean by that.
So, sort of a. I can't hear myself.
With the small town USA, what are you hearing? I don't understand.
So. Actually, I think I'm saying the same thing in both of these paragraphs.
Okay.
This film footage of normalcy, if you will.
Okay.
Small town America starts out very placid, very safe. In terms of the images.
Current America, modern day, back in the 40s.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
If that's possible, or if we can replicate something like that, but
the best you should think about doing with that is use that program or find the YouTube clips, find the footage on there, and then I'll download it. We can use that stuff and edit something.
Okay. So
actually, I type in on a search YouTube Georgia backwoods, and I bet you there's a lot of people who have shot stuff.
Georgia backwoods.
But the soundscape, that's the part I'm
okay, so what I envision backwoods. Only because I'm very orally sort of not centered, but oral stimulation really does a lot for me. And so what I envision is just setting the environment. And again, it starts from the natural state. It starts in a very neutral space. We have really nice shots of small town America, Georgia backwoods. We hear birds. I don't know what we hear, but we hear a soundscape sounds that remind us that are setting the environment, if you will. Whatever that may be, but I think then it sort of devolves into something more dangerous. Okay. And so I don't know what that is.
Okay, and as you go throughout the week, keep putting in parentheses birds, put different things that you think should be heard while they're watching this backwoods footage.
All right.
What kind of birds? If there's a certain bird, if it's a crow,
birds
eagle,
particular to
hawk,
birds specific to that area.
Yes, that's good.
All right.
I think that's a great idea.
Southwest Georgia.
I think it's great to find out what birds are specific to that area.
Right.
Absolutely, that's great.
So all of that pre-show and the cut twos and all that all sort of goes together. Then I think the stage fades to black or just goes black.
Good.
And this is something that came to me, the sound of a large electrical switch being engaged, just like the switch to and that's how it also ends.
Love it, I saw that.
So yeah, I put that in dark because I haven't gotten to the end. All right, so then a backdrop falls to reveal these charges. So I don't, again, this is getting a little scenic and technical. Anyway, State of Georgia versus Lena Baker charged with murder. Randolph Superior Court.
Are you cool with when you say backdrop? Are you cool with maybe us doing that whole backdrop, literally a backdrop, and the whole show it just stays up there? That the whole time we see State of Georgia versus Lena Baker, or no, or what?
I think you mentioned that the first or second the second meeting. I love that idea.
Yeah, I like it too.
I think it should
not
stay.
Project it and take it off. Leave it the whole freaking thing that people are always damned to be reminded of, like this.
Well, and also you know where you are. You're in the midst of a trial.
Exactly. I love it.
Okay, so this is a trial in Southwest Georgia, 1944. Okay, good.
Great.
So that stays. It's permanent. It never...
I'm going to use an old typewriter and sort of mimic what an old typewriter would and put that onto a backdrop.
Yeah.
It's cool. I love it.
Okay. So then the executioner enters and stands center stage, surveying the audience, who are possibly the jurors. The executioner inspects the playing area, making sure that it's amenable for the action to start. He then exits to retrieve old Sparky, which he then places downstage right. Lena enters upstage center through the backdrop, so somehow there'll have to be an entrance from that. I don't know what the backdrop is yet. She appears lost and tentative. When Lena speaks, her voice is clear, distinct, and hyperactive. Her manner is petulant and somewhat indignant. She addresses the audience directly when speaking. The executioner never looks at her. He also is always speaking directly.
So write that in a sentence. The executioner never looks at her.
Okay, executioner never looks at Lena. Okay. He notices Lena, the executioner, snaps his fingers, and that signals her to cross downstage right and sit in old Sparky. He exits and returns with a small table upon which he places 2 whiskey glasses and a pint of 4 Roses whiskey to Lena's left. He pours a drink for Lena and one for himself. They toast and drink in silence. With his glass in the bottle, the executioner crosses upstage left, where he situates himself on either a stool or chair. So just in terms of blocking, I think it's an interesting dynamic to have him upstage left, which is typically a position of power on stage, and then Lena downstage right, in diametric opposition to him, and that's always sort of it's also a position of power, but it's not as strong as his because he's above her. Okay. All rise, the state of Georgia, executioner speaking. The state of Georgia versus Lena Baker on the charge of murder in the first degree. How do you plead? Now, these 2 lines didn't come out this time. I can do it in Celtics. They speak simultaneously. What I did in self-defense, or I would have been killed myself.
What do you mean they speak simultaneously?
And they're speaking at the same time. Lena and the executioner, because his next line is enough. He cuts her off. I want that to be indicated in the format-wise. What I did in self-defense, or I would have been killed myself. God is forgiving enough.
That's great.
How do you plead?
That's great. That's great.
I did in self-defense. Whatever.
That's great.
Then now I'm not indicating.
Whatever. If it's okay, it's
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm not. Great. Okay. I'm not going to indicate if anything's a voiceover or anything because I think we're now playing on the idea that you're going to play all of the male. You're going to play all of the.
We have to figure that out.
Right. Right. So the first character to speak is this W.L. Ferguson, Lena's defense attorney, questioning mortician T.E. Schaefer. W.L. Ferguson, state your full name and your business. Schaefer. T.E. Schaefer, funeral director and mortician in Cuthbert, Georgia, Randolph County. Ferguson, is it true that on or about the 30th day of April 1944, you saw E.B. Knight? Schaefer, yes I did. Ferguson, at the time that you saw Mr. Knight, was he dead or alive? Schaefer, dead, as a doorknob. Ferguson, where was he dead? Schaefer, at his mill. Blank page. Ferguson, and what was the cause of death? Schaefer, gunshot to the back of his head. Ferguson, back of his head, space. Echo reverb, perhaps.
What's up with the echo reverb?
That was just to play on that back of the head.
You want to hear a gunshot echo reverb or just the
back of the head? Back of the head.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I'll italicize.
Okay.
Tell the jury, please,
That's great.
Which side of Mr. Knight's head the bullet entered? Schaefer. In my experience, when a bullet enters the skull, it makes a smooth hole, but where it exits, it shatters the skull. E.B. Knight's skull was shattered on this side. He points to the right side of his head, which tells me that the bullet entered from E.B.'s left ear. Lena and the executioner lift their glasses in toast and drink simultaneously. Lena, what I did in self-defense. that lewd house closed down years ago, ... So I'm trying to incorporate just a little reference.
So stop right there, because this is great. With the lewd house. So two things. One is, it goes back and forth with these, there's different ways we could do that. I don't know if I should sit there and act like Ferguson and that act like Schaefer, go back and forth. So I can do, there's a couple things we could do. One thing is I could just literally memorize that stuff and just read it off, almost like you're reading the script, sort of like dictating to the audience the transcript.
Oh.
Or it could be on screen and I can read with a pointer or something the transcript with the cane and let them follow the whole story through the transcript. But I don't think I should perform that. I like that you're the performer, and I'm sort of this metaphor that is helping tell the story, almost like a narrator of a documentary tells a story.
Sort of like the chorus or facilitator.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So those are the two ideas that you should think about of how
I like the second. I like the using
like the second one. I like that one too.
Becomes a pointer. You know, the idea of using everything that's in the space for everything.
There you go.
Okay, good.
So, and then with the effect of the echo thing, there's a, I have a effect, there's a sampler thing that you can actually press, and you could maybe control that at your seat. So that could be something that you can control. So that'll be fun to play with.
Okay.
And then the lewd house, think about how you want to, I mean, if we could show images of actual lewd houses back then or something, or not. It's just something to think about, you know. Maybe we don't need that.
Right.
Just keep it in mind.
Right. It might help in telling the story, and it's just, again, the images just so help tell a story.
But do you think, do you think people are going to know what a lewd house is? I hope so. I want them to. Yeah. You know.
Well, they will. He then rolls Lena downstage right directly facing the audience, so it's going to sort of cross. He, I'm going to move if you don't mind.
No, you can move.
Okay. Oh, you're filming me. He exits off stage. All right, let me do this first. So, what happens with the chair? Lena enters, and then she is brought down like this. Downstage right. And she'll be here. And so what
with the documents projected behind on some kind of screen.
Yeah.
Let me see the eye. That's great. Okay, got it. That's great.
Lena enters, she said it's this boom, boom.
But go in the center so I can see how it looks against the black. So
boom, boom.
And I'll even show this to you afterwards so you can go ahead.
Boom. And it was so, you know, boom, 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 boom.
You get any, wait, aren't you going to get any hits in the face?
Boom.
Okay, that's great. And what about the gun?
And then the gun just shows up, and then they're boom, 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 boom.
I might do something where the gun is floating, sort of like the scale of it will be ridiculous. It'll be amplified. It'll be very surreal. It'll be, yeah.
And then I think this is when it slows down. Boom.
This would be like Man with the movie camera kind of a thing. I don't know if you saw that. So then, if it's excellent, let's try it. With the sun coming in, look at this. With that natural lighting.
Yeah. That's a nice reflection too. You're gonna kick butt.
If you don't mind, can I watch you go through it and not participate till the second?
Absolutely.
Let me watch, and then I'll participate the second time around.
Yeah, and maybe we don't even need to do that, Joey.
Correct.
Maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Yeah, you and, or let's do this.
But speak out loud. What are my actions?
Okay, let's do this. Let me read through it once, marking through it. And then if you want to take notes, or it'll be on the, and then the second time we can go through it and you stop me with notes, if that makes sense. All right. Okay, so that you can see it and get some ideas, and then
I'm gonna let you run through it now. I'm not gonna stop you. And even though we've never gotten to the point where we've reached the end where she's killed on the chair,
right?
So just sit on the chair, get to that point.
Not sure how that's what that is. State of Georgia, that could be overhead, I guess. State of Georgia, versus Lena Baker, charged with murder. Randolph Superior Court, May adjudicated term 1944. The executioner enters and begins a movie projector. So you enters from the house. Let me write that. Enters from, I said I wasn't going to stop. So the idea is that the executioner enters from here and he proceeds to set up.
Oh, okay.
That's to make them. Okay.
Question, I don't want to interrupt you, but just
That's fine.
One thing is the socks, you should consider having the socks, remove the socks from your feet, use your actual socks. I think that would be so cool. All right, so keep going, but that's how you do the socks.
Beauteous.
Keep it real.
Beauteous. State your full name and a business. T.E. Schaefer. I'm a funeral director and mortician in Cuthbert, Randolph County, Georgia. Opening the door, that's when Lena must have shot him because his back was to her. And what happened then? Well, according to Lena, she went on back home and got to thinking about whether she had killed E.B. or not.
According to Lena, should totally indicate to the audience that this guy is bullshitting.
That's why
this guy knows he's full of shit, and however you deliver that line should be really clear. This guy is lying his ass off.
That's what Lena told me. It's putting it all on the defendant.
That's it. We're trying to, to compress this.
So now, okay, so let's just say that it ends, that beat, that movement ends with the prosecuting attorney saying, no more questions. We're done.
Nice.
No more
Nice.
What is it? Sock puppets. The hat. All of this bullshit is done now. And then we somehow need to. I want to give you this defendant's statement. I would like to read this.
Read it.
Okay. All right. So this is the defendant's statement, and I'll read it as Lena. This here difficulty started on Saturday night before the trouble happened on Sunday night. I was at home.
This is where you can walk around the chair.
Yeah, this is it. I think this is when she leaves the chair.
Yes.
She is compelled to tell her side of the story now. Because it starts out actually with, gentlemen, this here difficulty started on Saturday night before the trouble that happened on Sunday night. Because I was at home. I had gone to bed, but I was at home. Of course, Mr. Knight came to my house. No. Yeah, Ernest came to my house. Somebody knocked on the door. I says, Mama, somebody knocking, and she says, yeah. I got up, went to the door, and it was Ernest. I said, what are you doing here, Ernest?
Ernest is great. Keep going.
He says, I come here to see if you going to the mill with me tonight.
Great.
I told I wasn't going. I told you I wasn't going to. I was afraid to go to that mill. I said I do not want to go to the mill, Ernest.
You are having a field day with this. What are you talking about? A field day? They might kick Ben Affleck out and put you in that damn movie.